Bezrat Hashem, Motzei Shabbat, we're starting our 40-day journey. I didn't get the chance to check yet. I was out the whole day, but I know already from very briefly checking from in the morning, not now. The first video we posted online, and there's over 3,000 people who registered to join online. So we're already a pretty powerful group. So it's important to know what we're up to. Some people sign up, they don't understand the dedication it will require. Some people don't understand what exactly is going to happen. So, soldiers operate the best when they get orders. If the soldiers would use their own imagination, there will not be victory in the battle. The commander is giving orders through the commanders underneath him, and they decide who will get what order. And I can tell you, as an ex-soldier in the Israeli military, you get orders and you do it. You do not ask questions. Why am I doing this right now? Because that's what you were trained for. And when the general is looking from above, he knows which group, which platoon, which brigade to move to which direction. Why are you moving this direction and that way? So many of the things might not be clear to our soldiers. Not that I'm taking position now as a general, I'm just saying it won't be most beneficial to start explaining every person. I know on the WhatsApps and the Telegrams and all these groups there's so many questions and how and who and what and when. First we do orders. We're going to start. We have 40 days. Don't worry, everything I'm going to tell you to do, I'm going to explain why we're doing that. So you have to be patient, of course. And more than that, it's important now what we're going to talk about is what is going to be required. Many people sign up. They think they're just going to be watching a video online. It's not going to be a video. It's much more than a video online. But I'm already telling you in the beginning, many things might not come up as so obvious. For the question you asked, I already got that question a few times. How can we do tshuva to somebody else's sin? So first of all, yes, I can clean up somebody else's mess. And it doesn't mean that it's my mess, but how many times a certain individual made a mess, physical, and I volunteered, I'll take care of it. I'll clean up the mess. So we're not necessarily doing tshuva for them. We are cleaning the mess, the mess that is affecting me. So, and I will elaborate much more why we're doing, what we're doing, what's the whole point. Listen, this is not something that at least that I know that was done. I'm just initiating something because unfortunately the majority of people in the world, Jews, non-Jews, observant, not observant, rabbis, teachers, the majority are so numb and so asleep, like as if business is as usual. So I already took myself to the time machine, imagining that I'm a regular person in Mitzrayim and Moshe Rabbeinu is coming. What do you think happened then, 3,000 years ago? They also had it up to here. They also were like, already die, get me out of here already. And even when Moshe Rabbeinu came to Mitzrayim, you think everybody believed him? 80% stayed in Mitzrayim. So now we don't have a Moshe Rabbeinu leading us out of Mitzrayim, out of our own exile. But we have history. We don't have a Moshe Rabbeinu, but we have 3,000 years of history. And smart people look at history and they connect the dots. And when history repeats itself, when there's a pattern, then you're saying if it happened 1,000 times, it will happen 1,001 times. So what we are going to try to do is to clean the mess of previous generations because it's affecting me. So if somebody, chas v'shalom, does their business, excuse my language or my description, does their business on the floor and leaves, then I'm suffering because it's dirty and it stinks. So am I going to wait for them to come in? No, I'm going to have to clean it because I'm suffering. So I'm not going to do tshuva for somebody else, but I at least can try to fix the mess. And if chas v'shalom, nobody really knows, but if chas v'shalom, which that's my personal opinion, Kadosh Baruch Hu is very unhappy, like he was many times in the past, we have to appease him. We have to somehow make Hashem happy. Now, if somebody else came and made The reason why I gave this example, by the way, because the Talmud, that's how it gives. It says the word sirachon, a stink or stent. So when does a sirachon, how does, even the word, the halachic word, when somebody does something bad, sarach, it doesn't smell good. So we're just trying to come and clean the mess. Listen, there's no guarantee here. It doesn't mean that after 40 days, then we're done. I can definitely tell you, damage it won't do. It will do good. It will make people stronger, more imunah, more bitachon. We can't fail here. There's nothing bad going to happen. Only good can happen. The point is that now, it's not only about this group and whoever's watching online. The point is to get as many as people inspired. Hey, let's join forces here. How many times there were things like this in the past? A Shabbat, worldwide Shabbat, and everybody was observing Shabbat, and challah baking all over the world. I mean, there was all these things, and I'm pretty much sure that it gave a lot of nachat to the Kadosh Baruch Hu when everybody is focused on one target. So I will explain as we go every little thing. I know there's a lot of questions. I don't go in the chats, but I know there's questions. Right now, it's important to know is the opportunity that we have from Motzei Shabbat, from Saturday night till Tisha B'Av, 40 days that have proven in the past to be days of problems. So we already know that these 40 days are a problem. It's not that we're inventing anything. And then after the 40 days start, when we hit the 17th of Tammuz, we know that these are bad days to a point that we go on a spiritual diet on these 3 weeks. People don't go out, people don't travel, we don't go to the pool, people refrain from doing all sorts of things, parties, music. I mean, why? Because we know these 3 weeks are very, very detrimental weeks to what's going to happen. Then the first of Av comes, from Rosh Chodesh Av, then we even become more strict. So it's not that we're inventing the wheel. These are 40 days that are known to be days that we are, under a magnifying glass. So the opportunity here is to sweeten the judgment, is to show the Kadosh Baruch Hu, we can be good kids, we can get it together. Besides that, I explained, I don't want to repeat myself, I explained that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, all it takes is a strong group that is dedicated, then that's the group that can level everything up and change Hashem's mind. Now, how much we're going to be able to sweeten judgments? I don't know. We can still see disasters. But maybe we'll be able to do 20% tshuva, so 80% will suffer. We'll do 50% tshuva, so we'll 50% suffer. So, and suffering, listen, any person that lives in some type of a denial that the coming of Mashiach is going to be smooth, then they're just living in denial. End of story. There's no other way to say it. And any person that thinks that this whole thing is going to pass, I hear people all the time, after the corona, when they open the borders, when things are going to go back to normal. Well, I have news for you. Nothing is going back to normal. It's actually going to deteriorate and become much worse than what you think. And I told you, it's a one-way street going only to the redemption. There's no way back here. That's it. The wheels are in motion. Which, as I said already before, this is the most fantastic news that we heard in the last 3,000 years. Because the redemption process already is in later stages. But we can't live in denial that, in a few months it will pass. It's not going to pass. It's going to become worse. Everything is going to become worse. Now, I'll tell you what the problem is. That I told you a few days ago I went to the bank. And of course, I had to make an appointment, stand in line. They put a gun to my head. I thought they were executing me. Whoa, why are you putting a gun to? No, don't work. It's plastic. No, it doesn't work. It's plastic. So why are you putting a gun to my head? And then, of course, I sat with the bank clerk, whatever, 2 meters away. What? She has like a bulletproof screen. She's talking to him like, I can't hear you. What? So, and then and they're like making a joke out of it. And I was like, this is not even funny. Because I'll tell you a small story that over 20 years ago, I lived in the United States. I used to travel a lot. I was lazy to come and stand in lines. I would come with my luggage till the plane. There wasn't security or all this nonsense. I would come with my luggage and do the check-in in the terminal. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. Yeah, they would do the checking in the terminal, and would go on the plane. That's how we used to travel. Remember those nice days? And then one sunny day, the Twin Towers fall down, and the entire world became slaves to the TSA or whatever security system they have in any airport, and you have to come 3 hours before, stand in lines, take your shoes off, take your belt off, take your underwear off, open the bag, and nobody protested. Everybody's standing like this, sheep. So, and we got used to it. We got used to it. The travel, you have to come 3 hours in advance. Don't wear the socks with the holes, because you're going to have to take your shoes off, and it's going to be embarrassing, and all this nonsense. So we got used to it. So I told the girl in the bank, now they're getting us used to that everything is far away. It's not going to change. You think it's going to change it someday? What do you think? Corona is just going to disappear from the world? The virus suddenly will disappear? First of all, it's here already for years. It's not going to disappear. So not to sidetrack from our focus, nothing is changing to go back to how it was. And again, it's all amazing news. It's the most exciting news we can get as a human race. The redemption is coming. For Jews, non-Jews, everybody. The sad news is that 99.9% of the population on this planet think they don't even see what's going on. So, with that said, we have to understand the opportunity. The past shows and proves that every time on the 9th of Av, on Tisha B'Av, there were disasters. 2 temples were destroyed. Many, many things happened on Tisha B'Av throughout all the generations. These 40 days are an opportunity for us to be on our best behavior, let's call it. To do some type of a tikkun. There is a blemish in the world, and we can do a tikkun. And really what it will require is for us to be on the best behavior, to understand what are the 3 major things that there's a damage in. So we said Chilul Hashem, desecrating the name of Hashem, which is what the spies did and many others did throughout the generations. Then the sin of Lashon Hara, which the spies did and everybody up until this generation does, still doing. It's a big problem we have. And the third problem is that we had already from the beginning of mankind, and this is called Tikkun HaBrit, is the covenant that we have with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, that all the immoral behavior that has to do with marital relations, I mean, that's, I think, the nicest way to describe it, because the problem is that 99% of the times it's not marital, it's physical relations, which brings the biggest impurity in the world. This is called Avon HaBrit, or you can call it in many other ways, but that's a big problem that we have in our generation. It's a problem that caused Hashem to destroy the world before the flood. It's a problem that caused Sodom to be destroyed. It's a problem that caused many places and nations to be destroyed. So these are the 3 categories that we have to focus on. Unfortunately, the third one, which is it's like a plague, nobody even pays attention to that. What's the big deal? What's wrong? Well, we have a serious problem when it comes to this type of behavior. So the tikkun is going to have to be in all these 3 levels, and it will require us to be on our best behavior. Now I want to go very briefly on the main things that we need to focus on, and don't worry, as we go, I will explain everything that we're going to do. The most important thing that we have to understand tonight and start cooking it in my mind throughout Shabbat is the importance of if I'm going to be dedicated to this or not. If you are not going to be dedicated for this, then I'm not chas v'shalom pointing a finger or be upset. But don't kid yourself. If you're saying this is way too much for me, then you give it your best. You do what you can. But the only way that this will work is dedication, not more than that. The whole day today was with Yosef, my son. We were talking about it, and he's like, listen, can you not count me in the minyan? It sounds too much for me, this whole thing. I said, why does it sound too much for you? What's the big deal? We're not going to be jumping in fire every day. So he says, nah, it sounds too much. So I told him, remember half a year ago when I was 99% dead in the ICU? How many books of Tehillim you read? He says, a lot. I read a lot. I said, how many Pirkei Tehillim you read? Hundreds. Well, did you miss a minyan? No. Did you miss a blessing? No. Why? Because I was afraid you're going to die. So when you were afraid, when you came to the ICU and saw me on machines, and you were afraid that your father was going to die, then you read hundreds of Tehillim, of chapters of Tehillim. You were like on your best behavior. What's the difference now? Why can't you be dedicated now? For 40 days. So you go on your best behavior only if you understand the urgency. Only if you see that there's an importance, there's a need. If you don't see that, then good. Listen to the videos, nod your head, read a few chapters of Tehillim, and fine. It's better than nothing. But me and many others see the emergency. What do you need to see with your own eyes to understand the urgency? I think Hashem has already showed us that there is an urgency. There's a need. Well, I told you that maybe 100 times the last 2 weeks. When Mordechai saw there's a problem, when Mordechai saw that we're going to be annihilated, then he was like, okay, it's time for action. This is no time to play around now. So extreme times call for extreme measures. That's how you say it? That's the, right? You can laugh. Listen, I'm not American. What? Extraordinary times calls for extreme measures, right? You got the point. This is the time. This is the time. So again, the first step is you have to understand that. If you don't understand that, it's not going to work for you. Because I've been in situations in my life that I had a sword on my neck. Ooh, I was such a good boy. Ooh, I was the best boy in town. Why? Because there's a sword here. When I was facing 40 years in jail, there was no games to play. I didn't miss one blink in a minyan. I read hundreds of books of Tehillim. I was the best Jew in the world. Why? Because there was a big judgment against me. So that's the problem, is when things are bad, then we get our act together. So the first and most important thing is to understand the opportunity, the urgency, and that it will require dedication. And the dedication is because some of the things will be easy. You're doing it already. Some of the things might not be easy for you. So I can tell you already in general what we're going to do, and we're going to do it here local. But the point is to have everybody do it in their communities and do it wherever they are, however they can do it. The most important thing is, and I will explain, don't leave now but I don't understand anything. There's a reason why we're going to do all these things, and I will explain everything. The first and most important is that we have to be very, very particular with prayers, which means that we cannot miss prayers. And us men, we are obligated to pray in a minyan, that we cannot miss a minyan. Kadosh Baruch Hu already hinted to us in the last 3 months, and he made us not pray in minyanim. So I heard all the versions why we're not praying in minyanim. The version that I like the most is that Hashem says, I don't want to even hear your prayers. That's the version I like. I didn't say that, by the way, but that's the version I liked. That Hashem says, what? I don't want to be here and hear you. Sometimes when a person is very angry and you come to apologize, I don't want to hear you. Oh, that's how I saw it. Hashem says, I don't want to hear you. Go home. So first and most important, the prayers are going to be, the emphasis on prayers is going to have to be the most. So it means there are 5 prayers that we do. Shacharit, Mincha, and Arvit, that all has to be in a minyan. And then we have Birkat HaMazon, when we eat, and Kriyat Shema L'Mitah. So you have 5 prayers that cannot be missed. Women and men. I mean, women are not obligated in 3 prayers a day, but definitely Birkat HaMazon, definitely Kriyat Shema, and 1 prayer at least, 1 prayer a day. Ashkenazi women, 2 prayers. Sephardi women, 1 prayer, but you have at least 1. And the Birkat HaMazon and Kriyat Shema L'Mitah. So I see everything. I told you yesterday, I don't want to repeat myself. There are some sins that you're not allowed to do. And it says, Yarek ve'bal yavor. You have to give your life away, but don't do it. For me, everything I'm going to tell you now is Yarek V'Bal Yavor. You turn the whole world upside down not to miss that. So first of all, we're going to have an order. The order will be to pray in the morning in a minyan. The earlier the better. Right after that, since we are already a minyan, then we do a reading of Tehillim in a minyan, not by yourself. You don't say, I'll do it at home. Then we have a scheduled Torah class. I don't know if we'll broadcast it. It will definitely be recorded. But the point is to have Torah after prayer, and right after that a meal. Why? So we can wash our hands, have bread, and say Birkat HaMazon in a minyan. And that way, that's it. I'm done with my morning. That's it. Go home. Do whatever you want. Now another thing is that we're going to have to read a few texts in a minyan, very important, such as Tikkun HaKlali. We're going to have to read it every day in a minyan. And the more, the better. Perek Shira, and I will explain why we're doing each and every one of them. פרק שירה, תיקון הכללי, פיתום הקטורת, and איגרת הרמב"ן. I read fast, תיקון הכללי takes me 7 minutes to read. פרק שירה, 8 minutes. פיתום הקטורת, 3 minutes, and איגרת הרמב"ם, 3.5 minutes. I'm not expecting speed, but it has to be done in a minyan. Then of course we'll have here, which the online community will benefit from it, we'll have a whole list of the classes that we're going to do daily. It's going to be broken to many different interesting things. We're going to learn many things. I don't want to now, we'll have, elaborate on that. We're going to have the regular learning, and then we have the learning that is teaching us why we're doing all these things. Then simultaneously, we're going to have to do 3 tikkunim, like I told you. The tikkun of Chilul Hashem, the tikkun Abrit, and the Lashon Hara. We all have this problem, by the way. Don't think that you are the one that doesn't have one of the 3. We all have it. And even if chas v'shalom, even the other, sorry, not chas v'shalom, but even if you don't have it in this generation, you have it from a previous generation. But we all have a problem with Chilul Hashem, definitely with Lashon Hara, and the Brit. I know this is a little bit, how do you say, R-rated, restricted, whatever it is, but we're all guilty one way or another. We're going to have to do a tikkun for that. One of the biggest things is going to be the Lashon Hara. I in many places they make you take an oath. Here I'm not telling you to take an oath, but we're going to have the 10 commandments that might be 50 commandments of this 40 days, but the main problem is the mouth. And we'll learn about it a lot. The mouth is Lashon Hara, gossip, slander, false language, cursing, lying, everything that's going on in the mouth and out of the mouth. So which means that this whole area of the face, this is another hint that the Kadosh Baruch Hu makes us all put these masks. Because Hashem is telling you, this is the problem. Not anything else. This is the problem. What you talk and what you eat. So it means what goes this direction, what goes this direction. So anything that has to do, and this is really the Yarek V'Bal Yavor, and this is the real dedication. A person has to make a switch in their mind. No Lashon Hara, no lying, no cheating with my mouth, no cursing, no slandering, no gossip. You have to be so aware and dedicated, because that's the problem with everybody. And we're going to learn intensively all the laws of Lashon Hara. That will be the halakha that we're going to be learning in the next 40 days. All the laws of Lashon Hara, because really nobody knows nothing about Lashon Hara. So that's going to be a lot of what we learn. But what goes out of the mouth is a big problem. So you have to already in your mind, okay, that's it. Any Lashon Hara that is around you, gossiping, slandering, cursing, anything. So it means you can't watch movies that they curse in there. And I know some people like watching all sorts of documentaries, whatever his name is, Pharaoh, whatever. It's not healthy to hear all this false language. Good, I'm happy that people are like, who? Whatever. The point is, we're going to learn about it a lot, but the switch has to be done very quickly in my mind. That this is the problem, which means that also what goes into my mouth. So I highly recommend, I am telling you already that the dedicated group, one of the major things that will be with what's going in the mouth is you can't put meat in your mouth. And I will teach you and elaborate on that, why 99% of the meat in our generation is not and cannot be kosher. I already gave a long lecture on that 2 years ago. A lot of people did not like what I had to say, but I'm not looking for likes. Most of the meat in our generation is not and cannot be kosher. And that's why we have so many problems when it comes to arayot, when it comes to the forbidden relation area. Because the meat is what arouses the te'ava, the desire to go completely out of control. And needless to say, the meat does a lot more. So I can already tell you, I told a few people, you have to not eat meat for 40 days. What? What's the big deal? So 40 days you don't eat meat. Hopefully after that 40 days you will stop with it completely. There's nothing wrong with that. I told you already, we are not carnivores. We are not meant to eat meat. It doesn't say in the Torah that I have to. Hashem allows, but it doesn't mean that I have to. So a big thing will be this whole area. What goes in, what goes out, and everything that I tell you, I will explain to you why, what, how, and when. Another huge thing, huge, and then, both of you need to hear it because, hey, David, that's what you need to hear. That's the next huge thing. People talk in shuls. That's the deal breaker. Rav Kanievsky says the problem from the corona is people talking in shuls. So this shul, I don't know about other shuls, this shul is going to be on mute. If you're going to talk here, you're going to be physically thrown out of here. It means even in between the brachot, we're waiting now, we're not a big minyan, we're waiting for 10 people to finish so they can be answering. Can't talk in between. Yeah, the display has to be on mute. This is the problem, the talking in shuls. This is the problem. Sorry, I'm lifting up your phone. This cannot be in a shul. Leave it at home. Or do it like in courts, unless you're recording the class. Like, in courthouses, they make you leave it outside. Can't bring these into the shul, that they'll go ding, 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 and then you're like playing with it and half listening, half answering. If you're recording the class, that's a whole different thing. Put it on airplane mode, put it next to me. But it has to be an airplane mode. No phones in the shul, no talking in the shul. I'm not even going to go to even slandering in the shul, gossiping in the shul. That's the Chilul Hashem, by the way. There is a mitzvah, it says, Umimikdeshai, Umimikdashi tirau. From my temples, you're going to have to stand here trembling. Very few people tremble in a shul. And we'll teach all about that. That's a huge Chilul Hashem. When you're standing in a shul, the Sifrei Torah, there's Torah books here, and even more when the Torah is out, people are like chit-chatting, and so I'm already telling you, I'm apologizing in advance if you're going to get a shh from me, and it's not going to be a nice shh. So don't get offended, but that's the rule. That's rule number one. You can't talk here. Want to talk? Go outside. Want to gossip? Don't come. Next, we're going to have to do as much as we can Taniyot Dibur. Taniyot Dibur is when you go do a fast, you don't talk. If it was up to me, I would do a 40-day Taniyot Dibur. I know most people telling me, I can't. I have kids, I have a wife. But we are going to do a few days that we're going to do a Taniyot Dibur. And I suggested to many people, so take on yourself the Taniyot Dibur at nights, so from Arvit till Shacharit. Anyways, you're sleeping half of it. So from Arvit, don't talk for 2 hours, go to sleep early. But we are going to do a lot of Taniyot Dibur, and finally, after years that many people have asked me, I will do some classes, sources, why we do Taniyot Dibur, what's the sources for that, what it does to the soul, and so forth. Here locally, I don't know, in other places we are going to have a lot of tours to Kivrei Tzadikim, to the graves of righteous people. We have hundreds around us, so I don't know how much that would work for people not from here, but we'll try to maybe broadcast it or record it. Now I told you already, this I will teach when we do it, but I told you already that the 40 days are divided into 4. 10 days, 10 days, 10 days, 10 days. Every 10 days corresponding to one of the letters of Yud Kei Vav Kei, which if you are already reading Kriyat Shema Lamita based on the Tikkun of the Ari HaKadosh, then you are already saying every night the 4 mitot, the 4 deaths, for correcting the 4 letters of Yud Kei Vav Kei. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. If not, then we're going to learn about it. Because when we sin, different sins, they do a blemish in the letters of Hashem. So one type of sin will blemish the Yud of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Another sin will blemish the Kei, the Hey, and so forth. So all these 40 days are divided in 4. 4 worlds, 4 elements, 4 letters of Yud Kei Vav Kei, 4, 4, 4. This we're all going to learn. I'm just giving you a little bit of an idea of what we're going to do. And the most important, that this is going to be the conclusion, many people, they pray 3 times a day. Ask them to tell you what it says in one of the most parts of the prayer, which is Alenu L'Shabeach. I don't know. That's the part when I say on 250 kilometers an hour. You don't read what it says there in Alenu L'Shabeach? So it says in the middle, L'Taken Olam, to fix the world, B'Malchut Shaddai. So we're going to learn what that means, because that's the Malchut. That's the Tikkun we're going to have to do. Because when we damage, then we damage the Yud of Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei. So we're left with Shin and Daled. Shin Daled is a demon. So we are under the control of the Shin Daled. So then we have bad thoughts, bad emotions, feelings, desires, lusts. Why? Because there's some demon that is controlling. And needless to say, many more things. But at least that you get a little bit the idea what we're going into. So during Shabbat, you can cook it. And say, you know what? Yeah, count me in. Count me in. I'm willing to take on myself 40 days to go completely out of my way. Why? For the benefit of the entire world. Now, if you want to take it to the next level, then you're doing it L'Shem Shamayim. Only for the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Not for me to be forgiven, not for the world to be a better place. L'Shem Shamayim, to make a Kiddush Hashem. There are different levels how you can take it. But I know that some people say, already told me, listen, this is nice. I'll read some Tehillim with you. Okay? Good. That's what you can handle. So read the Tehillim. Watch the videos. We're going to have daily classes exactly like when we had in Elul for 40 days. And in the Omer, there was a daily class for every day. So we'll have daily classes for 40 days. So of course we'll post everything on the social media and WhatsApp and all that stuff to everybody to follow. There will be daily tasks that we do, but the focus is to be extremely, extremely dedicated. Now, I can tell you one thing that will be an unbelievable result. You're going to be a total different person after 40 days if you dedicate those 40 days. You're going to be a different person. You're not going to want to go back to half of the stuff you already did, because 40 days is a chazakah. There's a reason why it's 40 days and not 49 days and not 39 days. There's a reason for that. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to learn a lot. We're going to take this time to learn a lot, because I don't think that after that we're going to have much free time. I think after that we're going to go back to quarantines. And then we lose again the momentum and our power. Now I want to share with you just one last story. This is personal, but for you to understand how I see how Hashem works. So today I wasn't in Tzfat the most of the day. I had to go and get something. And I had the opportunity to pay somebody a lot of money to go and get it for me. But I decided, you know what, I'll go. My son wanted to spend some private time with me. I said, we will go. Okay. Now he was trying to convince me the whole day, cancel the classes, let's stay till late. We'll have a nice day together. And I kept telling him, Bitul Torah, you can't. We have a schedule, we have people, there's classes, you cannot cancel Torah. For anything else, it's called Bitul Torah, one of the worst sins one can do. You have an opportunity to learn and you don't. Okay, on the way back here, which I took already extra time that I won't be late, then of course Hashem is much more powerful than any plans, as we read every day, Rabot Machshavot Belevish V'atzat Hashem Hitakum. Translation, many thoughts are in the mind of a man, but Hashem's decision is that's what's going to take place. So I don't even know why. Something worked wrong with this Waze. I got on Route 6. I was stuck there an hour and a half in traffic, going like not even moving. And you saw, of course, how late I came. Now, once the traffic was over, then to catch up, then I drove very fast. And of course, I get pulled over. My son tells me, have you ever been pulled over? I said, listen, my record is so clean. This license, I don't even have a point on it. For 20 years, I wasn't pulled over. Today, suddenly I get pulled over. Well, he tells me, what can happen? They can take my license away. They can order me to come to court, or they'll give me a fine. And of course I got a fine, by the way. Now I see it in a few ways. and I'm going to share with you my personal opinion. The first thing is, we are going to take a lot of dedication here. There's a concept that is called Bitul Torah. You cannot push away the Torah. Now, you know what's the joke? That the amount of the fine is what would cost me to have what I brought shipped. Which I thought, oh, I'll save this amount. Hashem says, you paid that amount. And you know what you did? You did Bitul Torah. You missed 2 classes. You could have got it delivered, you're going to end up paying it anyways. But you did Bitul Torah, which means we're going to set a schedule. You cannot push it. You cannot cancel it. You cannot override it. Count me out today. No. There's going to be a penalty for that. So it's unbelievable how the Kadosh Baruch Hu gives signs when they need to be given. I didn't get a traffic ticket for years. Years. And not sure I should say that on the video, but I always drive very fast. Not because I'm some cuckoo, because I'm always late. And I always need to catch up time. But Hashem says, you did Bitul Torah. I'm going to show you that what you thought you're going to save, you're going to end up paying, and you still have the sin of Bitul Torah. So next time you set a schedule, see, this is the schedule, what we're going to do in the next 40 years. No, you cannot delay, push, override. So I'm sharing you that epiphany that I had. The second epiphany that I had because of that is that when the Kadosh Baruch Hu accepts your tshuva, you're going to get a slap right on your face. I always tell people, if you have a disaster the day after Yom Kippur, say thank you to Hashem, means Hashem forgave you on Yom Kippur. If there's no disasters right after Yom Kippur, what, he didn't hear my prayer? Many people report the day after Yom Kippur, the boiler exploded, 7,000 shekels. Somebody bumped into my car, something good. Which means Hashem accepted your tshuva and the first penalty came. Hashem is accepting. So I was in my mind for the last week, okay, listen, I'm not a pious individual, I'm not a saint, I'm exactly like you, but I'm taking on myself. I've been talking to myself the last week. Are you ready to take this 40 days on yourself? I have a lot of tshuva to do. And today Hashem told me, I accepted your decision. I'm already writing off the first payment, now go do tshuva. So that's another sign that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is telling me, this is a good sign. Start doing tshuva. We have a lot more to do. And you can accept it as a punishment. I accept it as, I even told Yosef, I could have been called to court. He could have taken my license on the spot. He could have confiscated the car. Okay, just here, give a little fine. It's fine.
How fast are you?
Pretty fast. Pretty fast. When you're going down the hills here in the mountains, you go pretty fast. Very fast. And fast enough to probably get my license taken on the spot and the car confiscated and ordered to court. So the point is, and I'm not in any way promoting illegal driving in any type of a way or any illegal activity. It's stupidity. Because I knew I'm going to be late. I knew everybody's waiting. So I could have said, you know what? My safety is more important. Let me drive slow, pray without me. But sometimes stupidity takes over. And I was like, let me just drive fast. I could have stopped, say, listen, I'm praying mincha on the side of the road. I'm sorry. It is what it is. You live and you learn. But for me, I take it 100% as a sign from Hashem telling me, hey, you are about to take on yourself a very strict 40 days. This is approved to you. You can't override it. You can't push it. Today I don't feel like it. You took on yourself this decision, then you go through it 40 days. It's not 4 years, it's 40 days. That's a big deal. So 40 days, don't go on Facebook, because it's a pit of Lashon Hara. There's nothing to do there, by the way. It's a trap of your time, trap of your mind, and a pit of Lashon Hara. So 40 days. Don't watch videos and movies with false language and nudity or whatever it is that makes your mind go cuckoo. So 40 days. You don't have to eat barbecues. It's God just going to do good for you. You'll be in a much better health. You'll see you're relaxed. You're not agitated and angry and full of evil thoughts. So 40 days, you put yourself on a diet. Don't look in the wrong direction. Somebody starts gossiping, and just yesterday, my wife, Dvora, came up. She wanted me to hear something. Within 3 seconds, I told her, turn it off. That's 100% Lashon Hara. Why are you even bringing this to me? You should not hear it. I don't want to hear it. And tell the person who sent it to you to get it off the internet. That's 100% Lashon Hara. Even though it was very juicy information and a lot of information I would like to know. It's a big Yetzirah. So you have to do the exact same thing. So I will guide you every step of the way. But I'm telling you that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is approving. For me, this is an approval, this speeding ticket, this whole thing. I'm telling you, I left 3 hours earlier than what I thought it will take me to come. I went on a different route. I thought, that's it, I have it covered. And Hashem says, no, I'm going to make you sit 80 kilometers on Route 6 without moving, and there was really nothing there. And you just see how the Kadosh Baruch Hu runs the world to tell us, yes, I'm willing to accept your tshuva. There'll be a cost. You're going to have to pay a fine. The fine is not necessarily a fine that you pay. The fine is the sacrifice that you're willing to do. This is a sacrifice. This is not, you're not doing it for anything else. You're going to sacrifice your time, sacrifice many things. So if you're not ready, no harm done, no hard feelings. I would like you that's the same. But you do it to yourself. You do it to yourself, you do it to Hashem, you do it to Klal Yisrael, to the entire world. And I don't think it's that hard. I don't think we're not going to need to give our life over. Many people gave their life over for tshuva. I think it's going to be an unbelievable experience. We're going to learn a lot. It's going to cause a lot of unity. It's going to cause a lot of spiritual cleansing. It's going to be like a spiritual retreat, just without the treats. So there are going to be many more rules. I'm just telling you that you have to understand, okay, I'm going now into a 40 days of dedicating my life to better myself, make Hashem happy, make a Kiddush Hashem, and of course, if that will help the entire world, we saved one. You saw yesterday the guy came here, I won't even say what he was doing, not appropriate. It embarrasses me, things like this. But the guy tells me, I owe you my Olam Haba. You saved me. You never know who you save with your words. You never know who you save with your actions. You don't know what's going on with what you throw out to the world. You throw negative to the world, it will bounce back. It will do an effect. But you throw positive out to the world, you don't know where it hits. You don't know who you change their life. You don't know who you affect. So we have an unbelievable opportunity. I don't think it's by chance. And by the way, to add on that, I've been collecting money for the Sefer Torah for over a year. And it wasn't so successful. And then we're saying, till we get the Torah. Miraculously, last week the Torah is ready. Some person came, stepped forward and said, I just got a big inheritance. I want to give X amount to the Sefer Torah. Boom, chach, within minutes, the majority was already covered. Boom, we have a Sefer Torah. And Sunday, on the day we're starting, a gorgeous Sefer Torah. That's how we start the day, the 40 days. Gorgeous Sefer Torah. Some of you already saw the pictures. And Sunday we're going to complete the Sefer, write the letters in one of the most magnificent places in Tzfat. Wait till you see this place on Sunday. Just to see the place, it's worth to come. And where exactly in the holy city of Tzfat, around all the shuls, that's how we're starting the 40-day journey. If this is not another sign from the Kadosh Baruch Hu that says, okay, I'll give you whatever you need. Just clean the mess. So with that said, I highly recommend any individual to understand what's the opportunity, to understand how detrimental it is, how vital it is. This is not like, okay, so I'll come to the classes, what's the big deal? But you've been coming to the classes for the last 5 years. So, this is not just coming to the classes. Yeah, dedication. Somebody comes to talk to you in the shul. Shh. It's very tempting to say, what? What did you say? Stop that. Shh. So, yeah, it will require a lot of discipline. But I'm telling you, it's going to do a big difference. Take now this next 24 hours, think about it, process it in your mind, and Motzei Shabbat we're starting. So I think what we'll do for the local ones, I will explain during Shabbat what we're doing, but for the ones who are not local, then Motzei Shabbat you start. So we have enough videos already online to cook in our mind what I need to do, and Sunday we're starting. We'll start cooking. And Bezrat Hashem, as I said, if we do it in the name of Hashem, then we'll be successful. Hashem Naseh v'natzliach. In the name of Hashem we'll be successful. If we do it for ourselves, ego, power, show off, then we're not going to be successful. So, again, take the thought. I will add much more of what we need to do. I will explain everything. And we're going to gain a lot of beautiful knowledge to understand. And hopefully after the 40 days, we'll stay in that altitude and you just stay there. The point will be is to stay there, because that's how we have to behave. By the way, we've been misbehaving for thousands of years. The point is, it's like an airplane taking off. Once you get to the altitude that you want, then you're just flying there. That's it. That's what we need to climb up to an altitude, and then you just stay. That's what we're going to do. Unfortunately, most people do it in disasters. When chas v'shalom, a close death, car accident, loss of money. Why? But why wait for these disasters? And I will constantly reiterate exactly what I told my son. How come you were on your best behavior when I was on a deathbed with machines hooked to me and I was almost died? Suddenly you read all day long Tehillim. Suddenly you don't miss minyanim. You're first in the morning to wake up. Why? This is because it was urgent. So this is urgent too. This is very urgent. And if you don't see the urgency, then wake up and see the urgency, because how they say, wake up and smell the garden or the bushes, the roses. The roses, what? Coffee. The coffee. Smell the coffee. We just want to smell roses. Bezrat Hashem, Hashem will make us successful. It's going to be amazing. I highly recommend to everybody to join. Spread the word. The point will be is also to get as many people to do it. We'll try to do big things together. We're going to do amazing things. And Bezrat Hashem, the end of the road will be Mashiach coming and shaking our hands, at least to the men, to thank us for the effort that we did. And Hashem is going to be very happy, and that's what we want. We want to make Hashem happy. We want to give Him nachat, and that's it. And I know Hashem will make us successful.